Welcome back, Wardens, to Echoes of Thedas, your sanctuary for deep lore dives, immersive narrative exploration, and thought-provoking discussion around the Dragon Age universe. I'm your host, Severe, and today we peel back layers of myth, magic, and manipulation to explore one of the most enigmatic and enduring figures in all of Thedas. Flemeth, the Witch of the Wilds. Mother, monster, myth. She's been called many things. Asha Belinar by the Dalish, Mother of Vengeance by the Chasind, and perhaps something far more ancient by those who know the truth. Tonight, we trace Flemeth's tangled web through legend and reality, spirit and soul, and uncover how her shadow continues to shape the Warden's journey. Now, for those of you that don't know, Flemeth is a shapeshifter, known as the Witch of the Wilds, Mother of Vengeance among the Chasind, and Asha Belinar, which means woman of many years in Elvish. She is widely recognized as the eponymous character of an age-old legend, described variously as extremely powerful and long-lived, or even immortal, and having many daughters, all of whom are witches just like their mother. Now let's go back to the beginning. Ages ago, legend says Ban Conobar took to wife a beautiful young woman who harbored a secret talent for magic, Flemeth of Highever. And for a time they lived happily, until the arrival of a young poet, Osin. Now he was a bard, who captured the lady's heart with his verse. They turned to the Chasind tribes for help and hid from Conobar's wrath in the wild, until word came to them that Conobar lay dying. His last wish was to see Flemeth's face one final time. The lovers returned, but it was a trap. Conobar killed Osin and imprisoned Flemeth in the highest tower of the castle. In grief and rage, Flemeth worked a spell to summon a spirit into this world to wreak vengeance upon her husband. Vengeance she received, but not as she planned. The spirit took possession of her, turning Flemeth into an abomination. A twisted, maddened creature, she slaughtered Conobar and all of his men, and fled back into the wilds. For 100 years, Flemeth plotted, stealing men from the Chasind to sire monstrous daughters, horrific things that could kill a man with fear. These Korcari witches led an army of Chasind from the wilds to strike at the Alamari tribes. They were defeated by the hero Cormac, and all the witches burned, so they say. But even now, the Wilders whisper that Flemeth lives on in the marsh, and she and her daughters steal those men who come too near. Flemeth is said to have been born in Highever in the 3rd year of the Tower's Age. However, according to Brother Ferdinand Genetivi, there is no actual evidence of a Ban Conobar Elstan or a Flemeth of Highever having existed. Some people speculate that the legend might refer to Tyrion Talamal, son of Kaidaman, who tried to unite Ferelden before being killed by his wife, whom he imprisoned for her unfaithfulness, but she was released by sympathetic servants. Morrigan, however, claims that according to her mother, Flemeth was the wife of a poor bard named Osin. And in truth, Lord Conabar was the jealous lord who desired Flemeth from afar. One day, Lord Conabar offered Osin wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife. Osin agreed to his terms. Conabar was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. However, instead of fulfilling their deal, Conabar killed Osin in a field. Flemeth heard of Osin's fate from the spirits and swore revenge. Flemeth used the spirits to slay Conabar and fled into the Korcari Wilds. Lord Conabar's allies chased her in pursuit, but Flemeth found a demon in the wilds that allegedly made her strong enough to defend herself. Centuries later, legends spoke of a hero named Cormac who defeated Flemeth when she raised a Chasind army to invade the lowlands. Morrigan claims these legends were lies, however, and that there was never an invasion. As Morrigan's mother tells it, the Chasind never raised an army under Flemeth, and Flemeth never fought Cormac. According to her, Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people under the pretense of vanquishing an evil that had taken root amongst the lords and was thus held as a hero. Flemeth was attached to the legend sometime later, presumably influenced by the Great War with the Chasind that eventually came. Many legends shroud the mystery of how Flemeth became the Witch of the Wilds, a fearsome personage that walked the wilds for centuries. Her title, however, not a true one, but rather a superstitious name the locals of the Korcari Wilds gave to her. The Chasind often paint Flemeth in the shape of a great dragon or a serpent that only the truly desperate would turn towards. Flemeth offers vengeance, but rarely in the way one expects, and most petitioners come to regret their wishes. To the Dalish, she's a vengeful and sometimes capricious being, just as likely to kill a supplicant as help them. Flemeth appears often in Ferelden tales. In one legend, an old witch is said to have approached Calenhad Therin to offer him the power to unite the Alamari tribes and form a kingdom. She also appears in many versions of Dane and the Werewolf, and is said to have helped King Merrick Therin retake the Ferelden throne. Although Morrigan at first believed Flemeth to be an abomination, she later realized that Flemeth is not truly human. Flemeth herself reveals to the Inquisitor much later that the Ferelden legends of the Witch of the Wilds share one aspect that is true. Flemeth fled the Alamari and asked spirits for help. Flemeth then admits that Mythal answered, and in exchange for fulfillment of Flemeth's request, she possessed her. It is said that Flemeth has multiple daughters, but Morrigan claims to have never met another. She is later taken back by the revelation that Flemeth possesses their bodies as a means to prolong her own life, thus making her Flemeth's next host. Now, if we dive a little deeper, Yavanna, which is one of Flemeth's daughters, later claims, and Flemeth herself confirms, that the truth is in fact far more complicated, cryptically stating that a soul cannot be forced upon the unwilling. You were never in danger from me, which appears to confuse, frustrate, and disturb Morrigan, although the old woman refuses to elaborate further. Flemeth has an almost unsettling tendency to be involved in the lives of a number of Ferelden's most noted citizens. Although she is most associated with the Korcari Wilds to the south of that nation, tales of her have reached much further afield. Stories of her are sung as far north as Antiva, and the seekers of truth know she is more than just a legend. Now let's go back a little bit, and let's talk about Prince Merrick Theron. While on the run from Orlegion's sympathizers, Prince Merrick Theron and Logain MacTyr are captured by the Dalish, who deliver them to Flemeth. In exchange for leading them out of the wilds, she requests that Merrick make a promise to her that he may not disclose to anyone. She also tells Merrick that a blight will occur one day in Ferelden, and gives Merrick a cryptic warning about Logain. Keep him close, and he will betray you, each time worse than the last. 14 years later, Flemeth's words inspire Merrick, who's now the king of Ferelden, to accompany the Grey Wardens on their expedition into the Deep Roads. He later relays her words to Logain, who disagrees with them and points out that she may have been deceiving them. Now, if we come back to the present, while on assignment to recover the old treaties crucial to the Grey Warden's effort against the Blight, the party is approached by Morrigan, who reveals that the treaties have been removed by her mother. Apparently, Flemeth had kept them safe in her hut in preparation for the Warden's hour of need. Flemeth later rescues the Warden and Alistair from the Tower of Ishal following a disastrous battle of Ostagar, and brings them back to the hut to heal them. Once they recover and grasp the scope of their responsibilities, she insists that Morrigan accompany them. Flemeth avoids giving a direct answer to her reasons, but implies that her main concern is stopping the Blight, and perhaps that she wishes to keep Morrigan safe from it. Liliana, when asked, will tell the Warden the traditional version of Flemeth's story as known in Ferelden and Orlais. Morrigan may tell the Warden the story as the Chasind know it, as well as Flemeth's own version, in which Osin was her true husband. Morrigan is quick to point out the distinct possibility that neither version is true. That concludes our deep dive into the legend, the lies, and the truth behind Flemeth, the Witch of the Wilds. Now, we didn't talk about everything. We will explore Flemeth again, and her roles in later games. However, if you enjoyed this episode of Echoes of Thedas, be sure to share it with your fellow lore lovers, and join us on Twitch and Discord to continue the conversation. Do you believe Flemeth served justice or chaos? Was Morrigan ever in any real danger, or always destined? I'm your host, Severe, and next time we'll be diving into Alistair, our companion and fellow Grey Warden. Remember, Wardens, Loth Sulavin, Loth Aravel Ina. And until then, walk always in the light of the Maker, but watch the shadows for what lurks beneath, because it watches back. Until next time, Wardens, in peace, vigilance, in war, victory, in death, sacrifice.